Hello, everybody. My name is Vince Rotella. I'm with the Spanish 201 class with Professor Van Etten. Today, my topic is comparing Spain and USA in rugby, which is not the most popular sport in America, but I'm going to do my best to explain it. A little history behind rugby. It's been known to have said to start around 1823 by William Webb Ellis. He was the first to revolutionize rugby. It's up for debate. It's like a folktale story. It originated in Rugby, Warwickshire, England, which is a private school, and it's still there. Actually, it's been there since the 1500s in Rugby, England. Some rules of rugby before I get into Spain and USA. They're simple. I'll start with the basics. The main thing is you could only lateral the ball. Here's a rugby ball. Very patriotic, I know. I like it, but you could only lateral the ball. If you pass it forward, it's a knock, and that leads to a scrum. A scrum is where both teams come together and compete for the ball. Then their 8-man rolls it in, or their scrum half. Sorry, the scrum half rolls it in. Then it's a fair game for the ball, which is then I won't go into too much detail there. Then a knock is when you drop the ball forward. That leads to a scrum. So you're not able to make the ball go forward, or else it's a penalty. Then you have rucks, where if you get tackled, once you're tackled, you have to release the ball. Once you release the ball, you release it back to your teammates, and they compete for the ball with the other team. But realistically, you're going to get the ball the majority of the time, unless the other team overpowers you. That's a ruck. And there's sidelines where if it goes out of bounds, someone's on the sideline and they get to throw it in above their head. Two teams lift each player, and they compete for the ball. You have to throw it in straight. But those are the basic rules of it. Those are the most things that happen more commonly than not in rugby. Spain in rugby. It's decently common in there, but as you know, what's the most common sport in Spain that you hear of when you think of Spain as sports? It's soccer or football. And then the other two popular sports are basketball and handball. That's where the majority of their money is. Spain has potential to be a good rugby club or rugby union, whatever the league they want to play. They haven't been doing too well in the rankings, but they will get there. Their junior leagues have come in first over the past years, but as of now, they're not doing too well. They just don't have the funding. Their country does not have the economy to do it. But if they really want to, they can get there. They just have to make it more popular, and they have to fund it, publicity, all that. But as of now, soccer in Spain is the main sport. Now on to the U.S., which is where I play rugby. I've played for 4 years in college. I started playing at Cortland State when I transferred in for the Cortland Wolfpack. We got suspended, came back, and this year they ended up being 8th in the nation for D2 rugby. So go Wolfpack. It's actually getting pretty popular in the United States, rugby. It's really growing. There's about 128,000 active players in the United States, and collegiate rugby is the most popular. But that doesn't say people still play rugby. You have maybe town teams that you don't have to apply for the USA Rugby website, so that number could be a lot higher. And in Spain, it's about 30,000 active rugby players, and that's a fraction of what it is in the U.S. So the popularity is there in the U.S. It's also there in Spain, but the U.S., large population, it has room to grow more, especially since, I don't know, I think football is getting a little two-hand touchy, if you know what I mean. Personally, I've been playing forever. I've been playing football my whole life. I wanted to play in college, but I did not. Then I switched to rugby, and I can honestly say I feel that rugby is a better sport. It's simple rules. It's consistent rules. It's not like the NFL where there's rules changing every week or every season. I don't like Goodell. I don't think he's a good commissioner, and it's turning football into a very obscure sport. So, in the near future, hopefully, people say football is not really cutting it. And what America needs for rugby is they need popularity. They need advertising. They need people to want people to come out and see this sport. It's very hard now with football being the dominant sport in America, along with baseball and basketball. But it's hopefully getting there. There have recently been matches in the U.S. where they've been hosted at NFL stadiums, and they've been selling out. They've been selling out more than this professional soccer matches, too. I recently went to a match between New Zealand, and New Zealand is probably number one in the world in rugby, against USA. They got creamed, like 73-6. USA is not the best rugby team. We can't be, because we don't have the resources and we don't have the athletes to do it. But it's amazing, because the experience that I went to with a different country, even though it wasn't a Spanish country, with New Zealand, the camaraderie and the similarities and the culture between rugby of different countries is amazing. It's just such a common ground. It's a great start to a friendship, and it's there. It's just like Spanish with language. Even if it's a different language and people play rugby from two different countries, it's there, and it's great. It's a great standpoint. It brings nations together. It's just a fun time. And where football, they have it in Canada, maybe minor leagues and overseas, it's not popular, but rugby is worldwide. It's there. It's a good time. And when you're comparing Spain to U.S., I guarantee if they played a match right now or in a couple months and you scheduled it, it'll be very popular in the U.S., but it could be even more popular with publicity and income that's going into it. Paying players, giving people a shot. That's actually another thing I wanted to talk about. NCAA football. You have around 1,500 or 15,000 seniors in NCAA football. Now, about 1.5 to 2% of those players will actually make it to the NFL or try out for the NFL. That's a big gap there. And say if the player doesn't want to give up their athletic career, it's great if they want to go out for rugby. Now, like Spain, I'm sure rugby is like football there. You just grow up playing it like soccer. It's just another common sport there. You're exposed to it as a young age. But in the U.S., you normally don't hear about rugby until you're in college. In high school, there's teams for private schools, but public schools, you don't really see rugby too much. So because I've never heard of rugby or even paid attention to it until my sophomore year of college, and I'm reluctantly past my senior stage. I'm a seasoned senior. But anyway, with the U.S., if they want to be competitive, not like Spain, but say even Argentina, they have to have people that are exposed to it younger or have the athletic capability to do it. And it's just not there because football is taking over the athleticism. Even baseball or basketball, people who are stuck on those sports and are not willing to give rugby a try. But it's there, and the culture's there, and it's beautiful, and it'll be great to see rugby get exposed to America, as well as rugby and funding get exposed to Spain. Because unlike football, American football, these rules keep changing, and it's getting pathetic, and there's something like 12 minutes of actual play in American football. In rugby, it's 40-minute halves. And the halftime is like 5 minutes. So you're playing 80 minutes of straight rugby. And there's no downs, there's no whistle, it's just there. And one of the great things about rugby is total respect for the ref. That's a big cultural upvote in my point of view, because the refs are very strict, and every country, every team follows the ref. You address him as sir, you're there. So even if there was a fight on the field or something like that, or you argue a call, both countries, both teams know not to argue with the sir, and that helps maintain a positive camaraderie throughout the teams, which is good. So from a cultural standpoint, it really brings countries together. It's there. I mean, not to sound R-rated or too adultery, but there's beer and drinking, and there's worldwide songs that come with rugby. Usually when you play a rugby match, after you meet up for a drink up, but besides the whole drinking point, these teams come together out of friendship, and they just, they're friends. I mean, they're knocking the hell out of each other for 80 minutes at a time. Could have gotten in a fight on the field, but an hour or two later, they're at a bar, singing songs and being merry. Even if you didn't speak the same language, at least you have a common ground. That's as good as language as you need to communicate. So that being said, as an overall spiel of what I'm saying is, rugby started early. It's a very old sport. I mean, there's been barbarian types of rugby, or like forms, which rugby has been derived from, for hundreds of years, but it wasn't really set till the early 1800s by William Ebb Wallace, who geared it towards more organized rugby. Unions, leagues, like national teams, worldwide teams didn't come about till the late 1800s, early 1900s. But started in England pretty much, and it's been growing massively. It's been a good sport. Basic laws, it's football derived from this. So it's if a football player was to see rugby, they could sort of relate it, but it's a little difficult. You can't really see the sport until you actually play it, or you're up close, or you watch a couple matches. Spain has potential, has a lot of potential to be a top contender, but popularity and economy, it's very hard for them, because football or soccer there is number one sport. They're funding all their money in that because the fan base is much, much larger. It's a lot larger than what you're used to seeing. In the U.S., it is growing. Collegiate rugby is more popular than professional rugby. The USA men's team isn't doing well, but from what I've seen, from going to a match versus New Zealand to the USA, the popularity's there. And even through these two different countries, this common ground has promoted culture of different countries and bringing them together. It's you're not looking there to fight or start a fight, or like a drunken guy at a American football match. These people are really considerate and there to actually watch the game and enjoy the sport and promote it. So, Spain and the USA. They're both there. They're more common than you think, especially in sport. Hopefully, will they grow? They better. I hope so. I'd love to see them compete in the near future, and we'll see what happens. I hope you liked my presentation on rugby and Spain and the USA. Feedback is always appreciated. If you have any questions, just please leave a comment. Get back to me. Thank you. Have a good day.